our reviews. That's right.
Yes.
Let's start with our review of Terrifier 3, which we talked about earlier.
Yes, we did.
We also talked about Saturday Night Live, which we're going to be talking about that movie too.
Woo-hoo. Yes, sir.
So I want to get into this wonderful Terrifier 3 sequel.
T3. Yes, sir.
We talked about it a bit and kind of our feelings on this. Well, I don't think you talked about your feelings. We're going to do more non-spoiler in this.
Okay, so I'll be very vague. I'll be general. I won't give any specifics. There you go.
Well, you know what? Screw it. I don't care. It's our podcast. I can do whatever I want. We're going to change this up. We're going to go spoilerific. I want to hear what Paul says. I want to hear what you're feeling. See what you're feeling. I want all these people to do the same.
Yes.
Just go. Just tell me. I want to hear what you think. I love it.
Absolutely. All right. So Terrifier 3, you guys, I already was a little hyped just from the other two, that alone. Then I found out they were shooting this like around like Christmas season kind of theme. I thought it was brilliant, because it wasn't necessarily a Christmas killer or someone like Kris Kringle being the guy with the, ice cube that's going to stab you to death. It wasn't quite all that. So I was like, okay, it's going to be a different take. Cool. And that opening fucking bar scene where Art goes in there. And he's just chilling with Santa, and Santa's like, yeah, it's all fine because he's drunk and shit. 100% my dumbass. Because if I was in there drinking, that'd be me. I'd be like, oh, no, he's fine. He's cool to come in. Everyone's like, bro, fuck no. Yeah, man, no, he's fine. But as we know, then Art pisses in his lap. And bro, I was the only person laughing. I didn't give a shit. High as fuck. That shit was funny as hell. Starts peeing in his lap, and everything just changes immediately. They're like, get the fuck out of here.
Not just, can I just add to the laughing portion?
Oh my god.
For this, I need a disclaimer on this for a lot of people, because this movie's a lot.
Yeah.
This movie's a lot for a lot of people, even horror fans. There's a lot of horror fans that are just like, this is too much. And I get that. And I'm not against pushing the boundaries or anything like that. We talked about art versus entertainment and such earlier. I don't want to get into that topic. Go watch that or listen to that from earlier. But I'm not. I laughed at things in this that if I describe what I laughed at, and I'm going to, most people who don't get it are going to be like, you're a horrible person.
Yes. Right. Right.
But you have to understand, and this is the disclaimer I'm going to put up, and this is what I was trying to say about the filmmaking earlier, a little, and touch down on this too, is it's very creative. The way they film this movie, you never really actually, like sometimes it's just a fucking doll. You can tell they're clearly cutting into a doll because it's not moving at all while he's torturing it alive for 5 or 10 minutes. And that when I get to my portion of the view, I'll talk about the timing and such. But that is the disclaimer I have to give you guys. Like if we say we're laughing at this, yes, the notion of it is horrifying.
That part.
But we're laughing at it because of the way it was filmed, the way it was taken. And when with that context, I think that's important with this review that people understand.
Yes.
Right. With that being said, I totally laughed during the Christmas present scene in the mall.
Oh my god. Yeah, I leaned over to Sam and Matt. I was like, there's a bomb. There's a bomb. Like there's gonna be a bomb. And they're like, no, there's not. Today.
So but there's like one in particular that's done in such a cartoon Looney Tunes sort of way that like you're just like they're trolling you at this point. That's why I was able to watch it and not be so uncomfortable, because I was like, if it's coming from, like, Serbian film is a sadistic mind,
right?
The Human Centipede, that's a sadistic mind who's trying to push the envelope in the name of sort of anarchy, which I'm not saying doesn't have its place.
Right.
Even that has its place in entertainment field.
Right.
But this is not that. This is the filmmakers are clearly like, I mean, and I think it's a detriment to the movie. I think it's funny as hell though. Like, I don't like, if you put dramatic music to that mall scene, you're a horrible person. You're a horrible person. You're disgusting. If that was a dramatic turn, if we watched a dramatic movie that led to that scene with Christmas music in it because it's Christmassy,
right?
You're a horrible person. But because of what you know about these movies, you're like, and like as a cinephile, I have to just be like, I mean, I know it wasn't done. It was done sadistically in a horror fan way,
right?
not in a I want to see this happen to kids or this is
Right.
how I feel. This is a you guys painted yourself into a corner so much, and you're creatively still doing it. Like you're creative. And in that creativity, it means that you're just straight up walking on the paint you just paint.
Right.
There's nothing in this movie that merits a good movie.
Right.
In a traditional sense, but it merits a lot of entertainment in the gore sense, man. This one, but that's where it bugs me, is because I feel the story got worse after the second one, which I needed after the first one, because I was like, the first one's no story, this sucks.
Right.
I was like, then the second one, and like even like the one before it, was it All Hallows Eve or something?
Yeah, All Hallows Eve. Yep.
All Hallows Eve. I was like, I need a story, and like I know they said they were building a mythos to it, and they are. There's clearly another movie coming. I'm wondering how far they're going to take it. Or is he going to be in hell? What's happening? Whatever it is, I will check it out. I will see where the story goes. So it's not that terrible to me where like this isn't trash. This is chud.
Yeah.
This is chud. Now, why is it chud? Like chud, well, I do think chud has a better story.
Damn.
But it doesn't have as good of characters. And the acting in this is getting better and better. Each passing movie, the acting gets better and better, stronger, because you're getting characters returning. So like that's cool to see. That's a very clear sign of a very good director. You know, because that means he's getting better. I want to see something else from these people.
Right.
Not maybe with them doing it all together again, but show me something else. I know David Allen Thornton's going to be, dude, he could be the next Doug Jones.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, not saying that Doug Jones still can't do it or anything, but like a younger version kind of coming up, doing it, like creating characters, you know, and doing the makeup and stuff that just, you might have talked me into a higher rating on this just through this.
Hell yeah.
But it's all filmmaking. The movie's terrible. The movie's terrible. It's not, but it's entertaining.
Right.
It's terribly entertaining. That's what I'm going to call it. It's a terribly entertaining movie, and I respect the filmmaking that goes into it. I just wish they would get off of this train. Continue art if you want to continue art. Hand the reins over to other filmmakers. Let's do it like that. I thought they should have done that with Hell House as well.
Yeah.
Sort of like hand it off like they used to do back in the day. Yeah, Sean Cunningham helped make the Friday the 13th universe, but who made Jason? Who gets the credit for Jason?
Right.
You know, the ones we love. And it really depends. That's the objectiveness to it.
Right.
It's like that's the artistic value to it. Is like who brought that to it? And like now you go to Freddie and it's like Robert Englund brought that. Robert Englund throughout brought an artistic value to these movies, because again, there's a lot of those that, that fit this bill too. You know,
so shitty.
So not good movies in a traditional sense, but entertaining movies. So, and this is definitely where it falls for me. I'm not asking you to agree, but with that, I'm going to give my rating first because I believe Paul should like give a little prelude to his rating. You talked me up from a 1 to a 2.5.
Okay, hell yeah.
You talked me up from it because with your rating, I was like, really? I need to watch this again to see why you see that. So I did. And then by that point, that's my third time watching this movie. So I can't think it's that bad if it's third time watching the movie. So that watching it the third time, seeing some new eyes, and then today with your conversation raises 2.5. And which is to me is a good movie.
Yeah.
An entertaining movie.
Right. Yeah,
that's how I'm going to propose it from now on. So please tell us about your rating, where it comes from.
I think I give it a 4, right? So I give it an 8 out of 10. Sorry, so 4 out of 5. I really liked it. My big thing is I add extra points for things that I like little things, cinematography things, all types of things. They earned an extra point just from publicity because my parents are very old school. We're not going to say what news station they watch. But their news station was covering this because they're like, oh, they're killing kids, this and that. They were getting free publicity just from the news. And yes, they do, they do kill children, whatever, in this movie. But it's not grotesque like my parents were told by their news source.
Yeah, actually, not a lot of them are on screen.
No. Yeah. It's implied, like, what happens, but it's not like like they're being told it's vulgar and stuff. So they're like, wait, you saw that garbage? Like, what'd they do to the kids? We heard that, they're eating kids live on camera, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, no, what the fuck are you talking about? So kudos to the free publicity, in my opinion. Like, I think for a horror movie, when it's blown up like that to where news is wrongly covering it, that's just going to help you. And so you get an extra point just for that. Which
and
is the same.
I just to interject, and this isn't to defame anybody in any way. I think this is all a publicity stunt putting out. I think it's a PR thing saying like people are walking out, they're killing kids. Like I think all of that sort of became, let's create this campaign that you're making the craziest movie ever. And it's like, you do, but not for those reasons, not because not disgustingly. That's why I said it wasn't sadistic. But yeah, I agree with you. Like that, their publicity is definitely, I give them a lot of credit to.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
then
giving
even
them more points.
the theater experience helped too. That probably earned up an extra half point because the crowd was into it. People around me at least were holding their breaths for some of those kills. And we saw 3 or 4 couples walk out. They didn't, like, once the mall scene happened, they couldn't handle it, and I respect everyone. Like, hey, if you can't handle it, you can't, I don't know why they couldn't handle it, but they couldn't. And to me, I was like, well, that's, in my opinion, that's kind of cool because it made you feel something, whether it's negative or not. I feel for them. I hope they're okay. But regardless, if that was just their limit of horrifying things they can see and that was their limit, that's awesome. Like, me, that's awesome.
It pushes that limit. And even after that, it goes and it pushes it even farther in certain areas. And I thought they did well in that. I was and I don't want to say anything. I was sad to see certain characters go in one way, and then kind of how it plays out, and that's, I don't want to spoil that for anybody. We're talking about a lot of these kills and such, but I don't think that's where the heart of this lies. No. I think they're there. I think that's where its biggest flaws are, is the length of it, and progressively they get longer. Maybe not longer, but longer in a sense where you're sacrificing elements of a story to fit this 2-hour whatever framework. You're cutting elements of a story to add. There's like 23 or 24 kills in this.
Yes,
and it's not like art spends, like, if it's a big kill like the mall kills, you have to set that up. If it's the bar kill, you have to set that up. If it's this, that, so that takes like 5 or 10 minutes just to set up a side story for him to have a kill. Then you have the kills, like, because sometimes it's just like, come on, man, it's 5 minutes of you just torturing.
Yes.
And it's like, I don't like, it's not even that's boring.
Right.
There were times where I'm like, all right, we're back in it. We're now following this, because like the family who takes in Sienna and what's his name is in college, and which boggled my mind, and ultimately too, because I'm like, how old was he in the last one? So I'm that family had like a kid, but they were really like distraught. They're like, I want to help, but like, we got a family on our own, and like I was like, I get it, so like there was a lot of drama to it and stuff, but like you take us out of that and then put us in a 5-minute torture scene for shock, and that's where I say your movie suffers. Give me like give me like 8 of those, because let's just say like, or cut them in half, like give me like 11 fine or whatever, right? And just tell a good story around it, and then fine. Now I have to go through like 11 5-minute scenes of torture instead of 23. And it's not that it's too much to handle, it's that I'm bored by them.
I get that. I can, I get that.
And that's where like it draws away from the movie for me, because it's like you've got a great character, you have these actors that are doing a really good job, and you think the acting lies in how they're reacting during their death scenes, and it's not. It's the tension building up. It's all, but it's not there when I got to sit there for 5 minutes and all this stuff. So I think that's its biggest flaw for me, and that's why I have it as where it's at. But if you're a horror fan and you're really into this, I think it's for you. Go check it out.
Yep. And I will say that opening scene, I appreciate they did it how I wish Beetlejuice had done it. So they pick up where the second one left off.
Oh yeah. Oh, I wasn't sure which.
No. Because like for Beetlejuice,
he opens it like a few times with that body like walking around, and then So
because Beetlejuice pissed me off, because in my opinion, I'm nobody. They should have opened that scene with Beetlejuice, with his number finally getting called, then Jenna Ortega saying Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
And then he gets pulled out of line or something like that, instead of, okay, as an officer. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to leave it off, you got to pick it up where it is, or at least give something in between. So I did like that they picked it up right then. And then it told us more about art, and I'm not going to give that spoiler away, but it was like, okay, this is what we're dealing with now. Okay, that opened it up different because I was wondering how it was gonna pan out. But
I do like that they're leaning into that lore a bit, like the
yes,
supernatural side of it, because there was a point where it just seemed like sort of an explanation,
right?
you know, just like, okay, it's like, oh, he's just back from that demon. So
yep.
But and it's not just that they explain it that way, because they did allude to her being an angel,
right,
you know, in the second one. So you get to this one and it gets I just don't think it did a good job following up on a lot of those things. And not that it's not going to, but I need the movie to have an enclosed, you know, like you can't just, I can't hope that it's in the fourth one, because God forbid this wasn't number one, which I'm glad it was. I'm always glad to see an independent movie come in number one at the box office.
Right.
I don't care whether it's art or entertainment. And I prefer, because the Joker Folie à Deux is supposed to be art.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be. It's even considered, but it isn't. And it's not even entertaining. So I was so glad to see art come out on top of that. Art to clown me, you know, get these Terrifier movies. So I do support the indie side of it. And again, on our whole conversation of art versus entertainment, I still think that counts. And I'm glad to see an indie went out. That being said, I read a statistic about this movie.
Oh,
it's a very niche statistic.
Oh.
This was the number one movie for clown-like characters this year, with like white faces. This is the number one movie this year. So like this is like, it's on track too to make some good money. And I have a feeling like it's not, I don't think it's going to make the mass appeal.
You're right. Yeah, it's a cult movie for sure.
Honestly, they could make a mass appeal Terrifier. Just cut down those deaths. You know, just like have him when he's handing out the presents and stuff, cut away to maybe an extra shot of like a newspaper or like a screen. Oh my God, mass explosions at the mall today. You know? So like you allude to it, and then you could make like a rated R, like, I mean, it is rated R, but like, you know what I mean? You can make like a mass appeal version of this.
Yep.
And that's another thing about art versus entertainment is you can't do that with art.
Right.
You cannot reshape art, and I think you should be able to reshape certain things.
I think my biggest gripe with this movie, it was the production value. When I heard they had 2.3 million budget for this one, I expected to noticeably see a lot more. I wouldn't say even realistic for the kills, but even better cameras, better, you know, angles, more, you know, I expected more.
You mean how like clearly that Snow Angel in the blood was a cutaway that probably happened months and months later?
Right. Yeah, shit like, so like I'm sitting there watching and I'm like, I'm not seeing where this extra, because I mean, to me, I rewatched the second one yesterday. I didn't notice a difference from 2 to 3, and that's a pretty big budget difference. So I'd like to see where they were putting it, because I didn't see it. And I get, you know, you had certain elements you probably had to pay more for, because I'm not trying to give those spoilers away, but
everyone got pay bumps, and I don't blame them. Everyone should,
I guess, but that's a lot more. Anyway, you know, that's a lot. Well,
you have to imagine. Budgetary. This isn't an admonish. I'm not admonishing anybody for what they get paid or this, that, and the other. I don't care. Budgetary. This is all a point I'm talking about. When I watch this movie and I think about 2, and I even think about 1, and where these budgets come from, and their budgets versus the other. And I do think about these, especially with movies like Terrifier, and you know when they're announced and what I see versus. So I agree. I think the charm of the Terrifier movies lies in that they all look the same. There's not even much difference from the first movie, from Terrifier to Terrifier 3, in terms of look. The budget to me went up justifiably through the actors and the crew that were returning. Producers deserved more money, director deserved more money, writer deserved more money. And I know they're the same people, but there are 2 different paychecks. And justifiably so. So all of that, plus they have backing now, things like that. So that a lot of that budget went to money which was deserved. Now that's how it comes down to when you're making these sequels, and that's great. I'm glad they were all on board for Terrifier 3, because that was their payday. This is their payday, right? I got you. And I know they're going to come back for Terrifier 4, and if they are going to do that, I hope that's their last one. They tell their story and then they're gone. And then because I can see really big things happening for all of them.
Right.
And as a cinephile, I want to see what they have to show me more than art. So like that's where I pull from. So like that budget to me was higher paychecks and a more elaborate kills. And because like there was like only like I think like 12 kills in 2. And there's only like 3 in the first one or something like, you know, a certain amount on screen that you really see. But this one has, like I said, 23 or 24, and they're elaborate.
Right.
You know, like you had a lot of things you had to do in this to make it more disturbing. Like that shower scene alone with the chainsaw. Like, so and always think about it this.
Yeah.
In a Jason movie, the kills what, maybe 10 seconds.
Yeah, not minutes.
In a budget, 10 seconds is still a lot of money. What goes into the 10 seconds? Is there blood? Is somebody getting cut? Is this happening? What do the actors have to do? How many actors? This, that. So, like, you have to take all that account. So that 10 seconds can be a lot. This movie had 5 to 10 minute kills.
Yeah.
So it's like you're going to take a lot of money out of that. Like, that's a lot of that special effects. So that's like that right there. That's where your budget stays. So I think it is important for them to keep the charm because it all looks the same.
Right.
If you get to the next one and it looks like, think about Hell House.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. By the time you get to that third one, you're like, this doesn't really look the same. It doesn't look. It doesn't have that charm. You know. Yeah. So it doesn't have that charm with it and stuff like that. And it's just not the same. Blair Witch, same thing. Like, you know, a lot of found footage because it's very niche. But so like something like this, I'm glad they're keeping it similar.
Right.
But I do see I see the promise of how talented they are in other areas. You see it in the acting scenes and the drama and stuff like that. You see a lot of David Howard Thornton's really good mime work in those kill scenes. Yes. But I think you see more when he's being creepier, Art, just walking around.
Yes. Yeah, just fucking with people, just trolling the shit out of everyone. Absolutely.
I'd rather see an Art that has some graphic kills. Don't shy away from them. I'm not saying you can't go hardcore like they did, but a lot of those kills weren't the same, but it wasn't that different than the second one, the first one.
No.
So I can use less of those and just be crazier on the ones that you have. I know we're beating a dead horse with this review on the length and stuff like that, but that's just like, I mean, we liked it and we wanted to, you know, we want to share the good and the bad of what we liked. But overall, Paul gave it a 4. I gave it a 2.5. Go check it out for yourselves. You know, don't judge it without seeing it. That's the only thing I'll say.
Facts.
With that being said, bye.